Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, Chris Eubank, we all know he's full of controversy. He says a lot of things where people call him very delusional. He's fighting tonight against Liam Williams. Um, it's a good fight. It's a very good fight. I'm looking forward to it in a couple of hours. I think it's at 11 probably. But Chris Eubank has said that he wants a Canelo Alvarez fight. He wants to fight Canelo. I spoke to Ray about this, and he said, basically Eubank said that, a Canelo Alvarez fight has to happen, and it has to happen in the UK. It'd be a monster fight. Listen, everybody wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. And Chris Eubank is probably the only credible name now left. Name-wise, he's not a credible fight, by the way, because Canelo would beat Eubank in about 4 rounds. And I think I was speaking to Ray about this. And Ray said that he thinks that fight won't even go 4 rounds. I think Canelo would stop him within 4. Because Eubank's a sitting duck. He's got no footwork. Very poor feet. And Canelo would dust him off very quickly because Eubank wouldn't be able to get out the way, and Canelo hits too hard. He hits too hard. It doesn't matter whether Eubank's got a good chin. I just think Canelo would put him away. So that's not really a competitive fight. I'm not going to be honest with you. It might be able to sell in the UK. They might be able to do a stadium. But honestly, that is just not a competitive fight. I don't think people are interested in seeing Canelo against Eubank, a guy that's never won a world title, a guy that's just got a big name here in the UK because of his father. He's yet to really even win a legitimate world title. And you'd have to say that Canelo's fought our best guys in around our weight, in the weight classes that he operates in. He's fought most of the best guys. And Eubank, unfortunately, isn't one of the top guys, in my opinion. I think Canelo Alvarez would make easy work of Eubank. Eubank might be able to take a few punches for a while, but I just think he doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have the ring IQ. He doesn't have the ring craft. He has very slow feet, very poor feet, uneducated feet. And I just think Canelo Alvarez would batter him. I just think he would batter him. That's not a fight that I would want to see, but, I won't be surprised if it's a fight that in the future could happen. I doubt it. I think Eubank's name could get him that fight, especially if he wins a title. But where's that fight going to happen? Because Canelo might be moving to 175. I think it's a fight that Eubank wants. Eubank's been wanting Golovkin as well. And I think Golovkin, even at 40, beats him. But I think a Canelo Alvarez fight is far-fetched. I think it's far-fetched. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Canelo would be interested in Eubank. I think if Canelo was to fight Eubank, I think it'd be called a cherry pick, because Canelo's got so many options. He's got so many options out there right now that I just don't think that a Chris Eubank fight would make any sense whatsoever for Canelo. I think he's got too many fights. He's got Bivol, Beterbiev, Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade. He's got Bivol. All these guys. Even Makabu is more credible fight than Eubank. Eubank would literally have no chance in that fight. He'd have literally no chance. So it'd just be like an easy fight. A very, very easy fight. Very, very easy fight. I don't think Canelo would break sweat. Honestly, I don't think Canelo would break sweat. I think he'd probably have as much trouble as he had in the Yildirim fight, which is nothing, against Eubank. Eubank isn't, unfortunately, I don't even think Eubank's a world-class fighter, let alone elite fighter. He certainly is an elite fighter, and I don't think he's a world-class fighter. I think he's a fringe world-level guy that hasn't really beaten anyone that I would say that was. He's beaten some names, but they were all past their best. James DeGale was a world-class fighter, but he was past it. He lost to George Groves, who I believe was washed up when he fought him, and he still lost. He beat Arthur Abraham, but again, he was kind of washed up as well, old man. So I don't really think he's beaten anyone of any kind of note. He's had some. I feel like Eubank can win a world title against a limited world champion, not against Like, I feel like if Eubank fights someone like Chudinov, the one that George Groves beat for a world title, I think Eubank could become a world champion. But I don't think against the current world champions Eubank wins. I don't think he beats Charlo. I don't think he beats Golovkin. I don't think he beats Andrade. Just got to be brutally honest. I don't beat any of those guys. And Canelo Alvarez would, yeah, that's not even a competitive fight. That would be a cherry pick, as we would say. For cherry pick in the sense it would be such an easy fight for Canelo Alvarez. Eubank poses no threat. He poses no threat, and for Eubank to demand that fight in the UK, from what I read, he says that fight has to happen. Why does that fight have to happen? What has Eubank done for that fight to have to happen? What has Eubank done? I feel like Eubank, look, I like Eubank. I'm not as harsh on Eubank as some of the people are here in the UK. I think certain people are a bit too harsh on Chris Eubank. But I think I feel like Eubank comes across arrogant in the sense that I feel like he feels he's done a lot more than what he actually has in the game. I think Eubank has never been a world champion. His resume is okay in the sense that a lot of the names that he fought were kind of past their best. But what's his best win? James DeGale? James DeGale was at the end, James DeGale retired after the Eubank fight, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is, I don't think Eubank's really beaten anyone. I know we got the win against Matt Korobov, but Korobov got injured in that fight. And before that injury, Eubank wasn't doing too great. I know it was only like a round, and in the second round, Korobov got injured, but you can't really say, and I actually think Korobov would have beat him. If that fight he hadn't got injured, I think Korobov would have beaten Eubank. So I think Eubank, although I feel like he has an overinflated opinion about himself, and I don't think the fight tonight is going to be that easy. I don't see it being that easy. I know people are saying stylistically Williams plays into Eubank's hands, but I don't see this being an easy fight because, like I said to you, I don't think Eubank is a world-class fighter. And neither is Williams. I think Williams is a fringe world level guy, but I think that's what I think Eubank is. Now, stylistically, this fight might favor Eubank, but I don't think this is an easy fight. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest for Eubank. Williams gave Andrade a tough fight, and Andrade is far more skilled than Eubank. So I think this is going to be a really tough fight. In terms of Canelo, I don't think he's ever going to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. I think Eubank would have to do something really exceptional. I just think Canelo Alvarez has too many options. And the only way the Eubank fight is possible if Canelo wants to fight in the UK. That's the only way the Eubank fight happens, is if Canelo Alvarez wants to come to the UK and fight. Now, Canelo Alvarez has said he wants to come to the UK, so that might be on his bucket list. And that might be that might be the reason why Eubank gets the fight. But in terms of credibility, in terms of what Eubank's done, in terms of whether Eubank deserves the fight with Canelo, absolutely not. Eubank would have to do something great from now on in to warrant a Canelo fight. And I just don't think he has the ability. I might be wrong. He's working with Roy Jones now. And maybe, he can improve. Let's see how he looks tonight against Liam Williams. But I just don't think that Chris Eubank warrants a Canelo Alvarez fight. The only way he gets that fight is if Canelo Alvarez wants to fight in the UK. Because then he because he's a name, not so much of his boxing ability. Because like I said, from a credibility standpoint, as what he's done in the sport, it's not a competitive fight. Billy Joe and Canelo wasn't a competitive fight, and Billy Joe was a better boxer. Is a better boxer than than Eubank. So Eubank, I'm sorry, but I don't think he has much shot at all against Canelo. I don't think it's a competitive matchup. I don't think it's a fight that goes past 4 or 5, and I think it will be quite one-way traffic. It's just my opinion. Not hating on Eubank. I like Eubank. I think he's a breath of fresh air. I'm not like some people that find him arrogant or don't like it. I actually like Eubank. I think he's a decent fighter, fringe world level guy. Sometimes you can say he's delusional, says certain things which you're like, what? But on this occasion, I just don't think he's a credible fight. I think the only way the fight makes any kind of sense if Canelo wants to fight in the UK. Then Eubank probably makes for... he's a credible fight in the sense that he's a big enough name where they'll be able to generate some interest in the fight. But in terms of the competitive nature of the fight, it's not a competitive fight. It's not a competitive fight. Canelo is fighting world-class fighters like Caleb Plant, who would beat Eubank quite comfortably, by the way. Fighting guys like Callum Smith, again, another guy who I think would beat Eubank. And Canelo Alvarez is dominating those guys. He's beating those guys comfortably. And those guys are far more intelligent, have a better ring IQ than Chris Eubank. So if he's dominating guys of that nature, if he's dominating fighters of that level, what's he going to do to Chris Eubank? So it's not a competitive fight, guys. I like Eubank. And it would be great for, you know, maybe for him to get a Canelo fight in the UK in a stadium. It would be great for people to watch Canelo up in the flesh. And Canelo may want to do that, you know, something that Mayweather didn't do. Canelo might want to come to the UK because he knows the boxing fans here are great. And maybe he would want to, you know, showcase his talent to the UK audience and the UK public. But unfortunately, the Eubank fight for me is just not a competitive one. It's just not a competitive matchup. And I think Canelo Alvarez would win that quite handily, quite easily. Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think Chris Eubank could give Canelo a fight? Or do you think it's a non-entity? Do you think it's a fight which Chris Eubank stands no chance and it's not one that you want to see? And do you think that there's a chance that Chris Eubank might not even come through tonight against Liam Williams? Because I'm pretty sure all of you are very familiar with Liam Williams after his performance against Demetrius Andrade. So do you think there's a chance? Forget about the Canelo Alvarez fight, Imran. He's not even going to win tonight. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know your opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know whether you would like to see Canelo fight Chris Eubank. But knowing you guys and knowing how I know some of you guys, I don't think you guys are going to be very interested in a Canelo and Chris Eubank fight. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be like, nah, I don't want to see that. I'm not interested in Canelo v Chris Eubank. But leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to know your opinions, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.